Melvin, and this is MusicNet Lessons, Improvisation Lesson number 5. You should download the files that go with this. There's your instrument file, whatever key you happen to be in, and there are 2 MP3s and the Band in a Box file. Now, you don't need Band in a Box to do this, but I recommend it. And if you're going to learn how to improvise, Band in a Box is a great tool to have, because you can slow things down, you can change the key, you can change the feel, and it's a great, I use it all day, you know, to practice improv. You can enter any song you want in there. There's a great library of songs on the internet already, but it's real easy just to enter your own chord symbols. And I create, you know, backing tracks with Band in a Box, and it's a lot of fun to play with, and it's really easy to use. So I recommend it, but you don't need it because I got 2 MP3 files for you to play along with. All right, now the 3 goals I have for this video are: 1, better time; 2, fluency in 12 major keys; and playing lines throughout the full range of your instrument. So with those 3 things in mind, I've developed this little method, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys, and you'll be able to play along in no time. Okay, so the first aspect is time. Now, I first got, of course, time is always a concern of the jazz musician, having good time, but I really got turned on to the whole time thing by playing a gig with the trumpet player Carl Saunders, and he said to me, I don't have perfect pitch, but I have perfect time. Now, when I first heard that, I wasn't sure what he meant by that. But after hearing him play for a couple days, I realized what he was talking about. Not only does he have perfect time on trumpet, he can play the drums and the piano too. And, you know, he said to me, I asked him, does everybody slow down in your opinion? He says, that's not my opinion. Everybody slows down. So, after playing with Carl, I wanted to develop some way to improve time. And an idea was presented to me by a fellow in New Orleans, and I don't remember his name, but he's a saxophone player down there and that I played with. And he kind of came up with this idea of using Band in a Box and play-alongs to improve your time. And, you know, along with the time, you need to develop your technique too. Okay. So, when people say they give you advice on how to improve your time, the first thing that they usually say is play along with the metronome. Now, I'm not going to argue with that, because playing with the metronome certainly can help your time. And probably the first thing that you should do is play the sheet just with the metronome to get the scales into your fingers. But How about playing without a metronome? Or how about not playing without a metronome? All right? So when you get to play along and you put it on, and I'm going to demonstrate this shortly, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing along with the track, and then there's going to be breaks of silence, and then the track's going to start up again. And during those breaks, it's your responsibility to keep time. See, the problem with the metronome is that you can follow the metronome, okay? And when you're following the metronome, then you're not really providing the time. So my method, I think, will really help your time. I know it's helped mine. Okay, so now we want to be fluent in 12 keys, so this method covers all 12 keys, all 12 major keys. Now, how often do you play, a tune in the key of, let's say, F sharp? Well, in jazz, probably not too often. But, the bridge of certain tunes goes into some odd keys, like, for example, All Things You Are goes into F sharp. And if you ever play with, R&B and funk type bands, they often play in the keys that, are easy for them. E concert, B concert. So you'd have to be, somewhat fluent in all 12 keys. Is it possible to be equally fluent in every key? Yes, it's possible with Marcellus. I mean, I don't know if he's as good in F sharp as he is in G. I doubt it. But you need to be able to play in every key. And have something in your vocabulary to draw from in every key. Plus, the odder keys like F sharp also will help you later when you're trying to do substitutions, and we cover that in some other videos. Alright, so also covering the full range of the horn is very important. Sometimes with the traditional methods, what we get used to is here's the C Dorian, and we play that, and it starts on C, and then the F Mixolydian, and it starts on F, and certainly there's value in playing those scales like that. My method is designed to cover the full range of the instrument. So we're not really going to play the traditional scales, although they'll have the same notes, right? So in the first line, it is a Dorian scale. But then coming down, it's not really the Mixolydian scale. So we're just covering the basic keys and trying to utilize the full range of the horn. Saxophone players are pretty good about playing throughout the full range. Trumpet players, we tend to stay where it's comfortable for us. So by forcing us to practice higher and lower, this only helps us expand our vocabulary. So let's get started. So you've downloaded the music, you printed it out, or if you want to use a key read off the screen, you can. But it's going to go by pretty quick, so I suggest printing it out, and yeah, you got 3 pages to work with here. So before you try to play with the tracks, I suggest just sitting down and playing through the scales that are given, and use a metronome. And when you get up to 152, then you're ready to play along with track 1. And track 1 is a bossa, so the phrasing is straight. Now, don't worry too much about articulation. Articulate comfortably. You can tongue all the notes if you want to. If you want to slur them. What we're trying to do here is keep good time. That's the exercise. When I practice improvisation, sometimes, of course, I like to just play and just, that's the way we eventually want to end up. But if you're learning how to improvise, I like to make little games and play them, like playing within a certain range, or using a certain set of notes only. And then in this one, I like to think eighth notes, because if you're always playing eighth notes, then you're going to be able to keep better time. The longer the notes, it seems that we tend to lose time, because then you're dependent on your inner sense of time. When you're playing all the notes and filling all the cracks, then you really get a good feel for where the time is, because you're playing the time. Yeah. So start off with the metronome, and be sure to count all the rest. and learn the scales first. Then you're going to try track 1, which is major 2-5-1, all keys, bossa, 152. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to play the scale in the first line, and then you have some rest at the end of the first line. You have 7 beats of rest. You play beat 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. You don't play there. Okay? And what's going to happen is the track is going to stop. But they're going to come back in the next bar. So during that period of silence, this is where you're keeping time and not playing. And this is very difficult, as you're going to find out in a minute. And I'll show you on my demos that I'm not perfect at this. Then you play the second line. This is measure 5. And you play the scales up and down. And then you improvise through it. And then it says improvise on repeat. So when you take the repeat, you just improvise the whole time. And I'm going to demonstrate this for you right now on the EVI. So you probably went through track 1 and you did pretty good. You're ready for track 2. It's the same thing really. It's just faster, and this time it's swing. Now the slow tempo is harder, because especially when you have to count the rest and come in. So I think it is. The problem with the fast tempo is we tend to slow down a little bit. So usually the tendency on the fast tempo is that you're going to be late. On the slower tempo, the bossa, you might be late or early, depending on how you're feeling. Now, tapping your foot, I think, is a good thing. Now, people have different opinions on this. I think that everybody should be able to tap your foot. Now, if you don't tap your foot, that's okay too. Sometimes you don't want to be tapping your foot when you're playing in certain ensembles. But I think everybody should be able to tap their foot. Okay, so you're ready for track 2, which is major 2-5-1, all keys, swing. And this is at a tempo of 184, which seems like a fast tempo, but for swing, it's really a medium tempo. So play through it, take your time, pause the recording, start over. It's hard. It's hard to do. And okay, well, here I am demonstrating track 2.